is the Retro Media Talk Podcast with your hosts, Steve and Steve. Awesome.
I'm Steve, and
I'm Steve.
We got two Steves here. Hey, we're starting off this podcast. This is a show about talking about the 70s, 80s, some of the 90s, anything retro we're going to talk about. So we're going to kick this first episode off with one of our favorite movies that kicked off the 80s, I believe, one of the big epic classics. And we're going to be talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep, 1981.
Just a phenomenal film. And we, when we were debating on what films to talk about, we had a little list, and we were like, what should we talk about? And of course, we both unanimously agreed Raiders was one of the most important films, I think, in the action genre that really kicked off a bunch of films in the 80s that, tried to, replicate it. And there were some other good hits that kind of, along those lines, but nothing was quite like Raiders and Indiana Jones.
No, I think they did some kind of cheap knockoff. Wasn't it King Solomon's Mines? Remember that came out in the early 80s?
Yeah. Well, you remember Romancing a Stone, too, but I like that film. But, yeah, they did a lot of different, like, action adventure type ones, but they're fun films. But, yeah, let's talk about Raiders, man. So what we just recently watched it again. I haven't seen it in, like, probably 10 years or so. So it was really fun to go back and watch it again. And I watched it on Blu-ray. I was totally blown away by the picture quality. It was like reliving the first time I watched the film. I don't know. I watched it in headphones too, and that might have played a part, but it was just so good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, what did you think about it when you refreshed on it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I watched it on, I think, Paramount. So obviously it was upgraded probably a little bit from the old film or the VHS. I mean, it looked pretty good. I don't think it looked like dazzling. It was a little bit grainy, I think, at the beginning of the movie, but I think that's kind of the way they shot it. No, I mean, it's as good as I always remembered it. I mean, it's one of those movies. No matter how many times you watch it, it's it gets you like wrapped up in it like right away. I mean, there's just like nonstop. There's no dead points really at all in the movie. And you think about it, you get some of these movies and it starts off pretty good, and then there's like this like really slow part. There's like no slow part. It doesn't slow down really.
No, not at all.
I mean, he shows up at the college like right after he gets that idol stolen from him, but that's a matter of just like 5 minutes, right? Because he goes and meets the guys, tell them that they want him to find the Ark, and the next thing you know, boom, he's on his way. There's no dead time at all. So that's what's really cool about it too.
I know, man. The one thing I miss about those movies is, like we talked about before, because one thing people don't realize, we tried to do this podcast once before. We tried to record it, and the recording didn't record, so we're trying to do this again. But when we were first talking about that, we were talking about like the guerrilla warfare of filmmaking, like how they really like didn't use CGI. They used all these different props and did all these stunts that were kind of they probably wouldn't work these days in films. I don't think, but it was just such a more realistic experience, I think, because now you can do everything with computers. So it's like, man, the way they did some of that stuff was just, pretty mind blowing, I think.
Yeah,
back then.
I think nowadays, it's like there's expectations of how things are supposed to look. So I mean, I think filmmakers now, they're kind of stuck with CG, but it's like, I'm sure it's way cheaper, honestly, to build a practical set and blow it up than it is. I mean, because it costs millions and millions of dollars for them to do CG work on movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, it's like the perfect example of the one scene where he thinks they're putting the ARK on the plane, and he's fighting that big, huge, bald guy, and they're fighting, and the guy gets hit with the blades, and then of course the gas, catches fire, and the plane blows up.
Oh yeah, man.
I mean, that was a model. They built that plane. It's a life-size plane, but it was made out of like wood and stuff. And they blew that up, and they had some stuntman run away as the explosion went. I guarantee that was, a fraction of what it would cost for them to make a realistic-looking plane and an explosion with CG. But, they're worried. They're worried about people,
Yeah, they're worried about probably insurance claims, something going wrong, and somebody dying, like we've had recently, but in the film. But also, some of those stunts were probably, hey man, we got one take on this, we got to get it right,
Right.
Oh man, talk about stress.
I mean, but what's cool too is like they were still building sets. I mean, movies today still use some sets, but like these movies, especially George Lucas, Spielberg movies, and these big epic movies, they built sets for very small scenes. Think about it. I mean, they built that set for the opening temple scene, right? With the idol and the rolling ball. That was all real stuff built in a set. And when they go get the Ark and the Well of Souls, that's a set. I mean, they don't really do that anymore. If they did that movie today, everything would be green screen, right? Like the Star Wars movies were. They'd just be standing in front of a green screen, and they would fill all that stuff in. And in my opinion, I watched the new Star Wars movies, and it just looks phony to me, because I know it's not. It's just all computer animated, and a lot of times it looks good, but sometimes it doesn't. And I think models and sets. I mean, it looks way better. I mean, yeah, you might know it's a model when they're blowing something up or whatever, but I mean, it's just more realistic to me.
I think every space movie I've seen that uses models, I mean, obviously Star Wars it was ahead of its time, and it looks so much better. Of course, if you take a movie like a really B movie, like what was that? What's that guy that does all those B movies? He did like Star Crash and some other really bad ones, but
yeah.
I can't remember his name offhand.
Those look like garbage, right?
Yeah, those look like garbage. But I remember seeing that in a drive-in too when I was younger. But
I just watched the original Alien movie, and they're showing the outside of the ship going through space, and you knew it was a model. But I mean, the model was like super highly detailed. You know what I mean? And it looked kind of cool. And you do a space movie now. Outer space. It's so clean and crisp, and the ships are so clean and crisp and whatever. And it just, models and stuff like that they're just way cooler.
But don't you think though? You think the CGI is more expensive than the models? Because I think the models are more expensive.
Sure.
I don't know, because you got to pay so many people to, build the models, paint the models.
Well, I think
probably have the extras.
I mean, that certainly costs money. I mean, but but a lot of times, if you're doing like some kind of big epic like Lucas, and you're having like this TIE fighter scene where there's like 50 ships flying through there. Yeah, I mean, but. If you're just building one little phony plane that Indiana Jones runs away as it blows up, how much does that cost compared to them doing it CG or whatever? I mean, I think there's probably some pluses and minuses to it. I mean, I don't know, but I just know that when they were really getting into CG with like Jurassic Park and all that kind of stuff, the prices were astronomical for like, you know, industrial lights and
well, we
magic
can
and
definitely
whatever.
probably, I don't know really on the price at all. I would assume the models are more expensive, but I could be wrong on that. But we do know one thing. I bet it saves a lot of time using CGI because, you know, you got...
Well, yeah, I mean, it saves a little time actually filming the movie, but then, I mean, the movie's on hold for a year plus in post-production so they can add all that crap in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
But it definitely saves on, let's say, time and insurance liabilities, obviously, because you're going to, you know, just be hanging by ropes or, you know, whatever they got, the bungees,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's, you know, there's pluses to it, and I'm sure the studios.
But you know, I mean, getting back to like some of those old movies, I mean, they were ahead of their times. I mean, still, it's just like, I don't know, man. I mean, look at Star Wars, Superman, all these. I mean, they just, I don't know how they did it. I really don't. You know?
Well, they had to be ahead of their time because nobody had done any of that stuff before. You know what I mean? It's like they were just kind of like flying by the seat of their pants and seeing what they could get to work, and you know, it shows when you go back and you watch those original prints of those movies. You know, you can't do Star Wars anymore.
Right.
But yeah, you can see. You can see some of it was cheesy. I mean, a perfect example, you go to Star Wars and you go into the cantina scene. I mean, virtually everybody in there, you could tell, was wearing a stupid mask on their head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They all looked phony and stuff like that, but it didn't matter because it was like cool, right? It was supposed to be some faraway planet, whatever, and you don't really care about it. I mean, it's more about the story really than it is about.
Yeah, and you could see, okay, so you can tell they're wearing a mask or whatever, but, you know, you can also tell when something's CGI.
Yeah.
And one of the most apparent CGI things that, you know, the movies, you know, emulate or put in there is shark movies. And shark movies, there has been so many duds lately. I don't know if you've watched any of them.
No, I'm just not into that stuff. But
they're
yeah, I can
just
imagine.
like, come on, dude. I mean, it's amazing that something like Jaws looks so much better than a movie now using CGI sharks, you know?
Right.
It's
Right.
just crazy. Something from the 70s and we're in the year 2022. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but you know, most of those shark movies you're talking about, what are you talking about, like Sharknado and stuff like that? I mean,
No,
it's
there's
like
been quite a few like
open
know,
water or whatever.
no, that I don't even know if you even saw any sharks.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I don't know. I remember it sucked. That was years ago, 20 years ago.
You might have saw a couple fins, but you know,
That's all you need.
the best shark movie I've seen in the last like 10 years, probably, or maybe I don't know when it come out. If you ever get a chance to see it, check it out. But it's called The Reef. It's awesome, I think, and it was like filmed. I think was it Australia? But it's based on a true story, and they actually used real sharks in the filming. Kid you not. But check that out sometime. It's called The Reef. But it's very suspenseful, in my opinion. Yeah, I was like on the edge of my seat on it. So
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Sometime.
in
But,
fact, I should look that. But yeah, I guess we better get back on course with Raiders. Now, what is your most iconic? What was the scene? An iconic scene? Was there any that you forgot about and you were like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, or something?
No, I you know, because I've seen the movie so many times.
Yeah.
That I didn't forget anything. But there's so many memorable scenes, so many iconic scenes. There's so many catch phrases, so many lines, you know, in the movie too. It's like, you know, you're watching and you're waiting for the for the lines like, maybe you could warn them if you spoke Jovitos, and that's just my pet snake Reggie, and all this kind of stuff, and it's like there's just so many killer iconic scenes in there, but I mean, obviously the opening scene, where he takes the idol, he's weighing the bag of sand, that's like the iconic scene from Raiders, in my opinion. And then of course, him running from that big huge boulder. Yeah. But I mean, there's just so many cool scenes in the movie that that's why to this day it's just it's such a beloved movie, and they'll never be able to top it. I don't know what they're planning for the next Indiana Jones movie, but I mean they'll never top this. They came close with Last Crusade, in my opinion. I actually like Last Crusade better than Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I love Last Crusade. I haven't seen it in years. I meant to watch that.
Yeah,
but I also love Temple of Doom. I mean, I love Temple of Doom.
Yeah, I liked it, and I liked it back then.
Yeah.
But as you sit down on a winter afternoon, like I'm going to watch all 3 movies in a row, right? And you watch Raiders, and it's super killer, and then you watch Temple of Doom, and it's a pretty big letdown, honestly. And then it's sandwiched.
A lot of action.
Yeah.
A lot of action.
It's definitely like a way darker movie, though. You got the guy ripping people's hearts out while they're alive, and they're eating monkey brains and stuff like that. Yeah. And of course, what's her name, Kate Capshaw.
Yeah.
She was so annoying in that movie. I can barely stand watching it when she's on screen.
Yeah, I wish the other girl would have came back. I wish they would have had her come back for the second one. What was her name? Karen Allen?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish she would have came back.
I think the reason that they didn't is because, Temple of Doom was like a prequel. So it was like 10. It was like 10. It was supposed to be 10, like around 10 years prior to Raiders.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got to watch that again.
Although supposedly I think they still knew each other. So whatever. Yeah, they probably couldn't get her under contract or something, or Steven Spielberg, had a thing for her or whatever, and because he ended up marrying her after the movie, I think. But
because when I kept seeing her face, I was like, gosh, I forgot about her, and then I was like trying to remember the movies I liked her in, and I was like, oh yeah, it was Animal House. You remember her in Animal House? She was in there. Yeah,
I've only seen the movie like once or twice, and
okay,
it's not one of my favorites. But
she was in Scrooge too, also, but with Bill Murray. Oh, Starman. That's the other one. Remember Starman, of course.
Oh, you're talking about Karen Allen.
Yeah, Karen Allen.
Capshaw.
Oh, no, not Kate. Yeah.
Yeah. No, she was good in Starman.
Yeah.
Another thing I was thinking about is in the opening scene, the temple scene there. The one guy that's hanging out with Indiana is Alfred Molina, the guy that played Dr. Octopus. And, in Spider-Man, and I think that was like his first or one of his first big screen roles. Of course, he had like 3 minutes in the movie, then he got a spike in the head. But but yeah, that might have been his first big role.
One of the most iconic scenes for me is obviously the snake scene, because I hate snakes. And when I was done watching the film, I watched some of the making of it on YouTube, and I did not know that they had 2,000 snakes, and they didn't have enough snakes, so they went out to like all the pet stores and everything and gathered every snake they could, and they added another like 7,000 snakes or something. I mean, unfathomable amount of snakes for that scene. Just crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then for them to be filming around those snakes, and it was like freaky, right? Because they were like standing there, and it looked like the snakes were gonna bite them, and it was freaky. But I mean, that that scene still makes me kind of jump and cringe at the same time. And you were talking, you had told me that because they both got, confronted that cobra, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so dangerous, But you say there's a screen in front, right?
Yeah, there was a pane of glass.
Pane of glass, yeah.
And like I said, I didn't notice it in the recent watch of the movie, but on the old VHS and the older prints, you can see a reflection because of one of the torches there. You can see the reflection in the glass, but they probably have cleaned that up. I'd have to go back and look, but yeah, there was definitely a pane of glass there because, even if the cobra wouldn't have bit Harrison Ford, I mean, he could spit venom right in his eye and basically do the same thing to him, make him blind or kill him. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, oh my gosh, that was so dangerous, right? And I'm like, man, how did they get the poison out of all these snakes? They couldn't have, right? I mean, that's too much work.
Unless they had a professional milker there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just milking them like cows. I don't know. I'm sure most of those snakes were of the non-venomous sort.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about insurance, right?
I know. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I mean, even if you're like, well, we'll keep the poisonous snakes away from Harrison Ford, but you still got to have some schlub that's working on the production crew that's got to deal with them. So you don't want the guy from Craft Service or something to get bit by a snake or whatever. So I would assume a lot of them weren't venomous. There was some big pythons and stuff in there. You can see in boa constrictors and stuff like that. And,
I wouldn't want to get bit by any of them though.
Well, no.
Ooh, freaky. But yeah, that was like, that scene held up for me because I've seen that scene a million times back in the day, but it still was like watching it brand new because when they're, falls from that, idol, when they get pushed in, the hole. I mean, it just kind of like irks me, It's like, oh man, falling in that big pit.
And the torch is burning out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another cool thing too that we talked about before is that each key scene, right, what makes the scenes awesome is like there's John Williams, like he's leading a different piece of music for each scene. They had the scene for the ARK, like that really mysterious theme, and then of course they had the Indiana Jones, the Raiders March, but they had all these different. They had the Marion theme whenever they get together, the real soft theme. But I mean, without John Williams, the movie would have still been good. But I mean, it was perfect how he scored the movie, and it just the way the scene changes and the music's change.
We talked about how movies today don't have those iconic themes anymore.
No.
That you remember, like Raiders and Star Wars and just about any movie from that period, Jaws. I mean, every score like that you remember, but Halloween, but you remember nothing from the movies today. I couldn't tell you what a Marvel or, any kind of action film today, I couldn't tell you by listening to the score, hearing a theme, because they just don't make them like they used to,
No. Yeah, the only one I can think of in recent history that I would, if I heard it, I'd be like, oh, I know what that is, and that's the music from Man of Steel.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty memorable, but one thing that's good about Raiders is that it didn't happen for like a year or two afterwards. But remember back, every 80s movie, at some point, they had some famous pop star or rock personality do like a theme song, right?
Yeah.
Or some cheesy like pop song that they would play. Like maybe you wouldn't hear it in the movie, but you'd hear it in the credits. Thank God there was nothing, written by Cyndi Lauper for Raiders of the Lost Ark or Sheena Easton or whoever was big back then.
Yeah.
It was all just John Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the music made that film just amplified. I mean, you want a theme song because, like, I don't know, for me, listening to, like if you listen to the soundtrack, you kind of relive that film, especially when you were younger and you didn't have like the film on video cassette or something. It was important to have like the score or something, because I would have the score and put that on and just remember parts of that movie. Like you were saying, each song or theme went along with the movie, but you would remember the movie by listening to each theme, even by not seeing the film, you know?
Right.
Just by listening to it on, I think I had the vinyl at one point, but yeah. Wish I had it back now. Got rid of all my vinyls. Now everybody wants vinyl.
Yeah, I actually have I have all three of them on CD.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I bought them in a set a long time ago.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, I need to probably pick those up again, because I haven't had them for, I don't know, it's been a long time.
You know, another cool thing about what they did in the movie was that they, the transition scenes, like, when they're going from place to place, they just showed like a little map with the red line, moving,
I do love that. That's pretty cool.
And it kind of gave you like that old, movie serial, 1940s, 30s type.
Yeah, like you're watching like a Sinbad film or something.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Yeah. Well, we should talk about the whole effects of, the end. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the film. But
it's no longer the Lost Ark for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it gets lost in a warehouse.
Yeah.
But they do show it in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, yeah, true.
In that opening scene.
Yeah.
So it's been sitting. So that was like India. Raiders of the Lost Ark was like 40. I don't know when it was. It was 44, 43. I don't know when it was supposed to be. And I think Crystal Skull was like in the early to mid 50s. So it has sat in the warehouse for at least 10 years.
What did you think of Kingdom of Crystal Skull?
I thought it was pretty good. For the most part, there's a few scenes where it was stupid, where they're swinging. He's swinging. The one point where he's swinging on the vines with the monkeys, and but the story was okay. It just wasn't. It wasn't a really strong story. That's the only thing about it.
Yeah.
And it did have a lot of CG in it.
Yeah.
Which was a big departure from the old movies, which I didn't really care for. I thought it was good. I thought they were going to hand it off to Shia to be the next Indy, but I don't think
they didn't.
I think he didn't go over that well. I mean, they could have. I liked him in the movie.
Yeah.
I think they could have picked somebody a little better than him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Crystal Skull was pretty good, but it didn't hold up compared to the other three.
Right.
It probably. I might say that I probably like it better than Temple of Doom, though.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't really like Temple of Doom at all. But it was all right. But yeah, they should have had somebody else better to pass the torch off to. And like I said, we probably won't even see that in the new movie. They'll probably pretend it didn't even happen, or they'll go back in time before that happens, just so they don't have to have him in the movie.
I wish they would have used somebody unknown, instead of him. I like it when they get an unknown actor. Because it just, I don't like it sometimes when they use famous actors for roles, like supporting roles like that. I want some new blood, that I don't know this guy. This is kind of cool,
I think they should have used Wee Man from Jackass.
Now that would have been hilarious.
Yes.
Yes. Best movie I've seen all year. No, I don't know. Let me think. What have I seen that was really good?
I just saw that, by the way. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Jackass, I mean, we watched it, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they filmed that. I can't believe they did that, you know? But you know what? It shocks you through the whole thing. And it just, you know, you're laughing your ass off going, I can't believe these guys.
Yeah.
But then...
It wasn't as funny as the other ones, but it had some pretty funny moments in it.
Well, that's the thing. It was like after we watched that, because you got to admit, that movie holds your attention to the beginning to the end, and then you want more. So we had to watch Jackass 1, you know, the Jackass movie, the 1. We did 2, we did 3, then we did 2.5, 3.5, and then we did Bad Grandpa and Bad Grandpa 2.5 or whatever. Oh my gosh. I mean, it was like, or is it 1.5 or 2.5? 2.5, I think? I don't know. Or what? I don't know. I get confused on it. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to watch it all. We watched them all like in like 2 consecutive weekends. But hey, I laughed my ass off, and that's one thing I love doing is laughing. Hey guys, are you looking to get healthy? How about getting healthy naturally? Your body needs 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids. And the easiest way to get those nutrients into your body is to get the Healthy Body Start Pack. Go over to naturalhealthagenda.com and check out the awesome supplements that Longevity has to offer. Also, guys, after 90 days of trying the products years ago, I decided to become a distributor because Longevity gives you the power to become your own boss and to start your own business. I wanted to help others, so after healing my ailments naturally, I wanted to help other people. By becoming a distributor, I was able to share my knowledge to friends, family, and whoever wanted to listen. So drop Big Pharma, try something natural for a change. Go to naturalhealthagenda.com, naturalhealthagenda.com.
Yeah, no, it was funny. It was funny. You know, especially the skit they did where they were in the room and that guy supposedly had that venomous snake.
Oh,
and
yes.
then he goes, I found the door. And the guy runs through there and they have all those frying pans hanging off the wires.
Gosh.
Dude, I almost peed myself. I almost peed myself.
I know. Oh, my God. They did some unbelievable stuff, though. I mean, some of the sickest stuff, but it is funnier than crap. So, Raiders of the Lost Ark, amazing film, amazing classic. I wish they'd make more films like that. And I don't know, not much more to say other than we did not get to the ARK scene where they showed, you know, the melting faces and the stop motion and
the exploding heads.
Yeah, how graphic that was for like kind of a PG. It was pretty graphic. You know, I watched it as a kid. Yeah, we never did get to that because the first time I saw the film, I was taken to the theater to see it, and it was at one of my uncle's theaters. He owned a couple of theaters, and we watched it there, and I was just blown away by it. But man, that last scene was pretty freaky for a kid, you know.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because it was kind of like the effects from, like, you know, Evil Dead or something, and that's what it kind of reminded me of. But yeah, I mean, the effects were great. It was pretty gory for that time, for PG, but it, you know, still a great family film. You know, even though it, you know, they had that and a couple other kind of suspenseful scenes, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that scene in the end?
Yeah, I think it was pretty cool. You at the time it was pretty cool. It just seemed like the movie ended abruptly, though. You know what I mean? It was like it was the build up, and then I mean, it was cool. The lightning bolts are like blowing through the Nazis' chests, and heads are exploding and stuff like that. I know they had to go back and do some editing to it because they thought it was too gory.
Oh, did they?
They had to add flames, like with the melting face and the exploding head, to kind of like camouflage it a little bit because of they felt it was too over the edge for that time.
I think that's right. It was pretty intense for a PG movie, for that time, for sure. I mean, nowadays it ain't nothing. I mean, the stuff you see on TV, but back then they were right there at the edge of it. Of definitely a little shocking,
Yeah. It was kind of cool too, because and probably most people wouldn't think anything of it, but I've been watching a lot of biblical programs about them getting ready to rebuild the new temple in Jerusalem and stuff like that. And the Belloc, right, the bad archaeologist, he had like the official gear on that the high priest would have to wear inside the Holy of Holies, to even be near the Ark, which it was pretty cool. But they didn't really say anything about it. But he definitely had the full-on high priest outfit on that they would have worn in Jerusalem and stuff. So that's pretty cool. That they added that in there, because they really didn't allude too much, about Jerusalem and the Jewish religion,
right?
Concerning that. But it was pretty cool ending. Like I said, it just felt like it just all that stuff happens, then the lid comes down and it lands on top of it, and then we're back at the college, and
It'd be
where's
cool.
it at? Where's the Ark? And he's like, we have top men on it. And he's like, who? And he's like, top men.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have an extended director's cut or something, of something of that.
But that is a cool shot, though. The very end shot where they show that guy pushing the cart down that long
that was
aisle
cool,
in the warehouse. Another thing too, we were talking about the music and the score. This movie is like a straight cold opening, right? Most movies start out with some music.
Yeah.
You don't hear the Raiders theme until the movie's gone on quite a bit.
Yeah, I love that opening. That really does kind of get you, just get you right into it,
Yeah. No wasting time. But so I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I'm sure everybody that's listening to this podcast has seen it and probably thought we could do a better review than we did. But you know what?
Hey, man. That's talk.
The only way we're going to stay on point probably in the future is if we watch something and then we take notes and we kind of stay on the notes, because as you can see, we both like to ramble. We have ADHD or something. We can't stay on topic.
Next film we do, I'm gonna take notes. I'm gonna take notes.
I actually had notes, and then my wife moved them, and I couldn't find them, and then I was pissed off about it, and then I just said to hell with it. I didn't even look for them.
Oh well, it probably makes for better talk radio just to go off the rails sometimes, but unscripted. And we hope to bring on, maybe some guests or something like that in the future, and we can all chit chat and remember the good old times.
Yeah, I'm in the works now. I'm trying to either get Lucas or Spielberg on the show. That might take a while, so we'll see what happens with that.
We throw them $10 or something. They might come on.
Something like that.
You know who I would like to get on I don't know.
Bruce Campbell?
Bruce Campbell. Oh man, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, he wouldn't do it.
I know. I just watched the Deadites, Hail to the Deadites documentary. Have you seen that?
I have seen it. Yeah.
That's a good one, man. I liked it. And,
have you watched the TV show?
Yeah, Ash versus Evil. Dead?
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
Ash versus Evil, yeah. Is that right? Ash versus Evil? Does that sound right? Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
I started to watch it, and like the very first scene, he's like porking that chick in the bathroom. And I didn't want my wife to see me watching it and get mad at me, so I turned it off, and I just never got a chance to watch it again.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I only watched I think a few episodes of the first season or something like that. But I need to go back and check that out again. But you know what pisses me off, dude? Because I really like that one movie he was in.
Bubba Hotep?
That one, I got that one, but the other one he was in, he plays himself. My Name is Bruce, I think.
Yes, where they're filming that movie like in the farm country? Yeah,
like he's living in a trailer and he's just some drunk, and he's like, I ain't no hero, blah, 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 and they're trying to recruit him to kill this monster they let out, whatever. And, that movie is hilarious.
I have a copy of it somewhere. I don't know where.
I know. I have a copy too, but I wanted it on Blu-ray, and of course it's out of print, and they want way too much for it.
What
just ticks me off.
What would be so special about that movie on Blu-ray, though? It's not like there's dynamic special effects or.
I don't know. I just get in those things. I want it on Blu-ray, but yeah. Even if I found it on DVD, I don't know. It might be rare now on DVD. I don't know. I gotta watch that movie again. I cracked up when I saw that.
I just watched Bubba Hotep probably about 3-4 months ago. I hadn't seen it since it first came out.
Yeah. Did you laugh?
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
he cracks.
That actually might be my favorite Bruce Campbell movie.
Yeah, that's one guy you can just look at him and laugh, just has that face.
I had a chance to meet him at Comic-Con, but my funds were limited, and I paid to meet some other people, and I didn't get to. He was pretty expensive though too.
Was he? I bet.
Yeah.
I gotta meet him someday. I don't know.
He's always doing the cons.
Yeah.
I went to. It was probably about 10 years ago, and my kid wanted to meet the guy from The Walking Dead, so I paid for him to meet him. And
which one? The main guy?
No. No. Remember the old guy?
Oh yeah.
White hair and the beard and stuff.
Yeah,
I can't think of his name.
He was cool.
Yeah, he wanted to meet him. I don't know why he wanted to meet him. There was other people from The Walking Dead there, but he wanted to meet him. So I paid to meet him, and I met Lou Ferrigno.
Did you?
And,
man.
And I met Adrian Paul from Highlander. That's who I wanted to meet.
Oh, yeah, Adrian Paul.
I wanted to meet Shatner, but he was asking for too much coin.
How much do they average?
It ranges anywhere from 50 to 250, depending.
Oh, really? Wow.
But, you get to meet them, and they'll sign something, and then you get a professional photo taken with them.
Yeah.
And
that'd be cool.
And stuff like that. And I actually paid for my Adrian Paul one, and I missed it. I got there late because it was a snowstorm.
Yeah.
And they refunded my money back.
No kidding.
But one of the people working with him, I told him the story, and they brought me right over to him because he was working a booth and stuff, and he talked to me, and we took pictures with my phone and stuff. So he was a cool dude.
Holy cow, that's awesome! Wow. Was that a good TV show? I never did watch it.
What's that?
Highlander.
I liked it. It's better than the movie. I'll tell you that.
I watched some, but I can't remember exactly how good it was.
I mean, it was good for it was a syndicated show on I think it used to play on USA or something.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a low budget, but it it was the enemy of the week, where a new immortal would show up and they had to fight, and of course every episode, for the most part, he lops the guy's head off. Yeah. But it was pretty good. It's the first season. If you can get through the first season, then it gets really good. I used to have it all. I used to have the whole series on VHS, but then I sold it off at a garage sale. But I do have the official Highlander trench coat that I bought off the website.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I just wore it to a funeral not too long ago.
Did you?
It's pretty nice. But it's a good show. They're actually remaking that movie, by the way.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, Henry Cavill is going to be the new guy.
Okay.
He's what's he in, The Witcher too, I think?
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, he's going to be the new Highlander.
Well,
so, that's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for listening to this first of many podcasts talking about retro, everything retro, from movies to music to TV and everything. I mean, we'll try to cover everything we can. Toys, everything, yes. We got a lot we want to talk. Yeah, we want to talk about the good days, and the good days so far are in the past. So they're like
never coming back.
Yeah,
they're never coming back.
Never coming back, and that's sad. But we will reminisce and talk about them through this show. Thanks so much, guys, for hanging with us on Retro Media Talk Podcast. We'll see you next time. Hey, guys, if you're listening to this podcast, you know we like pop culture. Why don't you go over to PopEnvyShop.com, PopEnvyShop.com, and check out the huge amount of pop culture toys, vinyl figures, statues, gift sets, pins, all from your favorite movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, you name it. They have every collectible for every dedicated fan in mind. You like action, adventure, horror. It's all there. Since 1996, they have provided exclusive limited edition toys, gifts, and collectibles. So go over to our partners at PopEnvyShop.com, PopEnvyShop.com, and shop for cool stuff. Use code SUNFREE22, SUNFREE22 at PopEnvyShop.com, SUNFREE22, and get free shipping on all orders $39 and up. Go to PopEnvyShop.com, PopEnvyShop.com.